Hi, well in this film I'm going to be bending and shaping the straps for the bag and also doing the riveting with some nice pure copper saddler's rivets. So here goes. I'm putting a little tab on the back of the bag so that it can double up as a rucksack as well. So this is a little tab that the strap feeds under. And so what I'm going to do, I think that's about the right sort of size, I'll cut that and rivet it down. And then the strap will be able to be threaded through it. So I'll cut the other end off and that'll be ready for the riveting. I have a little sort of cutting tool for this, but if you don't, just use a knife, a craft knife, and just cut the circle around. It's a bit like a belt end punch. And then just punch a couple of holes for the rivets. And that's the little tab ready, so that's ready for riveting. I think I will, just as a little bit of detail, just round off the edges going around, but that's not essential. I am also just rounding the underside of this little strap piece, and it's a little detail, but what it means is when you're trying to thread a strap or feed a strap in underneath, the slightly rounded edge will make it easier to get a rounded strap edge under more easily. So all these little details add up to make something, they take it really from being a joy, I suppose, to use really. It's as simple as that. It makes it nice. And it's nice to make things which are a joy to use. I'm just assembling the tabs to hold the straps for the bag. So I'm using little brass rings here, oblong rings, and one end of this will get riveted to the bag, the other end will get folded over around the little ring, and you'll have like a suspension then. So what I'm going to do is soak, I've just skived the surface off a little bit on the back of the leather here, just to reduce or take away this little wax treatment. And I just soak it in lots of water. So I'm just using a little like kitchen sprayer here with water in it, and I just apply that, let it soak in, apply it again, let it soak in. And when you come to bend the leather, because it's wet, it will actually bend far more happily and it won't crease or do nasty things, it won't crack. That's really what you want to avoid. So it's worth giving it a good old soak, and then I'll bend it round past this ring. This is soaking number 3, and if you just sort of bend it the opposite way it's going very slightly, it helps the water to soak in a bit more. So that's feeling a lot more flexible now. I think I'll be able to bend that over, hopefully, without problems. Just shake that excess water off. Yeah, it's looking quite happy. So all I'm trying to do is bend it down. I will give that one more bit of soaking. Just coax it round. It's quite a tight bend when you get one of these, because you're virtually bending the leather back on itself. So it's quite a big ask. So do the other one, same idea. Keep the bends in roughly the same sort of place. The water, you can see it does sink away quite quickly. So again, just top that up. I should be able to then push the other one down quite nicely. So these are taking the brass rings to hold the strap. Nearly there, I think. So I'll take the ring out and give that a bit more of a coax down. Quite a bit of pressure actually. I'm trying to close the gap between the two bits of leather. That's not bad. Try and make them both look the same. So just putting them side by side to make sure I bend over a similar amount with each one. I could skive this leather, make it a bit thinner, but to be frank, as it's taking most of the weight of the backpack, whether it's, you know, as a rucksack or as a crossbody bag, I want this leather to be as strong as possible. So I'm not making it thinner for that reason. So I think there'll be quite a bit over its lifetime. I think there'll be quite a bit of abrasion wear there, and I want that to last and last. One of the good things actually about restoring old bags is you learn to see where they actually get damaged and where the wear happens. And then when you're making your own bags, you can make sure that they don't suffer in the same way. I might take a little bit of skiving just behind here. There's no reason why that part, which is just holding the rivet, can't take some of the leather away from there. But I'm going to leave the actual arch where the brass ring is rubbing, leave that totally intact. That's nearly there. I think the other thing I'll do, just as a little point of detail, again, I'll just round these corners over just for neatness. I probably should have started doing that before I bent them over. There you are. What I'm going to do now is rivet these down. So the little rings in place, rivets in position. So I will put one of these washers on a rivet. Now you can get a tool to push these washers down, and it's really just a hole and a metal bar. You don't need one of these tools. You can just use a block of wood, drill a hole same diameter as the shaft on your rivet, and hit it with a hammer, and you'll get your washer down. So one of those things. Nice if you have the tool, not essential. These tools actually also come with like a hollow out at one end for doming over the rivets, but actually I'm going to make these rivets completely flush. So I'm not going to be using that doming tool at all. But you'll see how I do it, so I'll do this one next. So I'm just using, you could use pear pliers, I'm using some of these like contractors nippers to cut the rivet stem off. And I just give it a couple of works around so that the cut is sort of spread around the rivet. And you end up with a little stub like that. What I then do is get one of my metal working hammers and flatten it off. That's now flattened off, so that will hold really well, and it's nice and sunk in that side, which is what I want. But I want this completely smooth, so now I'm using the ball pein end of the hammer. It's only a little hammer, this one. It's, can't quite read the size on that. There's a number, but it's not a size, but it's a fairly small head anyway. And I'm just going to take this down. What you end up with is a very nice copper domed shape, and I just want to make sure that it's completely smooth to the touch, because you wouldn't want someone catching their fingernails on it. Copper is a lovely material to work with, as you can beat it and you just see it moving as you hit each stroke. Yeah, that's very nice. I think just a tiny bit more down there. That makes for an incredibly strong join. That will take my weight, I'm confident. I've tested it, in fact, to destruction. But that's the idea. So that's riveted that on. I'll put another rivet onto the bag down this end to hold it in the bag. So I'll carry on doing the other one, and then we can get them onto the bag. I'm just about to rivet the little back tab on that takes the strap. And a couple of little tips here. One is to make sure that when you mount this, you bend it very slightly, like a bridge, and then it would just mean that the strap, which should go through underneath, will feed through a lot more easily. So I'm actually putting these holes, I'm just bunching them together very slightly, and then that's raised up, as I say, like a bridge. And the other thing obviously is to make sure you put it on the back, because I was just about to do this and I was all set to put it on the front panel, which would be a bit disastrous, so it must go on the back. So don't get mixed up as to which is the front or the back like I did. I'm sure you won't, but it's another little thing to watch. So that's already marked. I'll punch out those holes and rivet this on. So I've just got this tab in place at the moment, and I'll be riveting on the inside of the bag. I did just think, should I back these up with a bit of leather as well, but actually I've done another quick test on an offcut and I have tried to destroy this riveting and I just can't shift it. So answer is no, nothing needed on the back, just straight in as it is will be more than strong enough for this. And it's not in fact going to take huge pressure, but I like to know, and ditto for the top supports when I come to attach these, whether or not it needs backing. But actually just trying to totally destroy this with my full strength, I just can't shift it, so there's no way that's going to pull through. You like to think of a bag as being sort of like totally overloaded, and is there a risk that it will separate? But I mean, I'm just trying to completely wreck that and I'm getting nowhere basically. And I'm reasonably strong. I'm not mega strong, but I've put quite a bit of pressure on that, and it's just not, well, it's just not doing anything to it. So that's nice to know. So I'm just fitting the two strap holders here now. So just getting them in position and lining them up. So to make the slot for these, I used a crew punch, one of these big heavy duty slot cutting punches that I use for the belt making. But if you don't have one of those, no worries. All you do is you do a hole each end of the slot and then just join it together using a knife and you'll get the same effect. So it may take a little bit longer, but you'll get a perfectly good result. So just punch hole at each end, slice each in a knife, get rid of it, and you'll get the same thing. So I'll carry on just marking out these rivets, make sure I get everything in the right place. And I think that is ready for punching and riveting now. So here's the bag now. This is all the back piece done with the parts riveted on. So quite pleased with that, and just test the strap going through there. That will go through quite happily through that one. Straps will be riveted onto these. One of them will be adjustable. That's going fine, and that's what it looks like on the inside. Still got some tannery wax there. I must rub that off, but anyway, that's the general idea. Well, I think at the moment that's it for this one. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.